The man, the legend, Tommy fucking Shelby. I've never seen someone who has been imitated more times in a Halloween costume, like ever. I think we all agree that he's the kind of man that enters a room and everyone shuts. Just people take notice, okay? His aura in person. So in this video, as always, I'm breaking it all down, okay? From the suits, the accessories, the grooming, and the presence that makes Thomas Shelby one of the most iconic characters in men fashion in 2025. Okay, so basically, I want to start by saying that you don't need to be a 1920s gangster to pull this off, okay? You just need to understand some details and the structure and the attitude that makes Thomas Shelby aesthetic and so powerful. Okay, so let's begin. First of all, what defines Thomas Shelby's style? Well, basically, he's a perfect mix between what we could say rugged masculinity and upper class sophistication. Okay, so as you can see, he's a gangster, but he dresses like a businessman, and that's what makes him look so iconic, basically. So first of all, the foundation of his style, it's a three-piece suit. Okay, you will always see him in a three-piece suit. Basically, what this means is that he's wearing a vest under his suit, basically, and that's it. It's easy to understand. Okay, so in the 1920s, this wasn't just a fashion choice. Okay, it was a symbol of status, and right now it still is, because it's considered one of the most basically elegant choices when you're worn to wear a suit, and it's actually one of my favorite choices. I think it looks amazing. Then there's the overcoat. As you can see, he has these beautiful details over here, and Thomas doesn't just wear suits. Okay, he adds a long structured wool coat that gives him extra presence and authority. Then you have the signature accessories. Okay, the flat cap, obviously the pocket watch, and the leather gloves. It's also one of the most intentional accessories that he wears. Okay, each piece tells you something about the man who's wearing it. This isn't just about looking good, it's about sending a message, and he does that perfectly. So let's talk about how you can recreate this in a long way that, well, it still works today in a kind of way. Okay, so let's talk about the essential clothing pieces that you need in order to dress like Tommy. Well, let's start with the most important piece, obviously, which is the suit. You want to get a wool three-piece suit like this one, and you could go for different colors, but as always, if it's your first one, I would always recommend to go for a navy or a charcoal gray. Okay, it's the best choice you can make. But like, what I would really want to emphasize here is that you will never see him wearing a bad quality suit. Okay, not satin suits or whatever. He's always wearing one of two. Okay, wool or also tweed. You could also go for tweed. It's a very good material, and the fit, obviously, it's slightly looser than today's slim fit trend, but still structured and masculine. Okay, so right now, to make it a little bit more modern, just wear a tailored suit. That's the thing. But the key detail here is the coat. Okay, the waistcoat. As I said, this is what separates a regular suit from Thomas Shelby suits. Okay, the three-piece design gives his look an old school formality that makes him stand out. But the coat is what gives him even more style. Okay, underneath, you want to wear a shirt, obviously, but not any shirt. Okay, it should be a white or light color, but the real signature move here is the clap color. Okay, this is the kind of color that Thomas Shelby wears in his shirts, and you can see many thousands of colors in shirts, but this is the one you should go for if you're trying to recreate this look. Okay, this was a classic look, just keep that in mind. It was in the 1920s, and it's what gives his style that extra period accurate touch. Okay, if you want to modernize it, a regular dress shirt works just fine, but if you truly want to recreate his style, that's the one. Okay, that's the kind of shirt you should wear. Okay, now let's talk about the footwear, because like Thomas Shelby is not wearing sneakers. Okay, he's wearing sturdy lace-up leather boots. This is what you can always see him with. Okay, this is actual pictures of Thomas Shelby. And these boots aren't just for fashion, okay? They're made for men who actually walk the streets, not just sit in offices. So always take into consideration the function of the clothes or the pieces you get. And just keep in mind that for his kind of lifestyle, he needed this kind of boots. But if you're not in Birmingham, you don't need this kind of boots, okay? You can go for Chelsea boots, which are also a little bit more modern and, in my opinion, are more stylish. Then, obviously, we have the overcoat that we haven't talked about enough, in my opinion. This is what adds presence, okay? A long, heavyweight wool coat draped over your shoulders immediately makes you more dominant, okay? So just keep that in mind, especially for cold seasons, okay, like winter. It's, in my opinion, one of the best items you can get in your wardrobe. And now let's talk about the accessories, okay? It's very important if you truly want to copy Tommy Shelby's style. So you will always see him wearing shirts with suspenders, which was very common in that era, but now it's not as common. If you want to replace it with a belt, is all right. But I think it also looks great right now, and yeah, I love it. I love this kind of style. So yeah, there's no problem with that. It's mandatory to get a pocket watch. Okay, he always has a gold pocket watch, which adds class and adds personality, basically. The leather gloves are a must, and I actually got one because of him. So this literally look amazing with any kind of outfit you want to wear. And of course, the flat cap. Okay, it's more than just a hat. It's just his signature style statement. So you put all this together, and you no longer dress well. You just dress like Thomas Shelby. You dress with purpose. So now let's talk about the grooming and hairstyle. Okay, because well, as I always say, your outfit can be perfect, but if your grooming and your hairstyle is off, you will never pull it off. So first, let's talk about the haircut. It's not the kind of haircut you would wear right now. I don't think topper fades existed back then, but this is one of the most recognizable things about the Peaky Blinders style. Okay, short on the sides and longer on the top, with like no even fades nor anything. Back in the 1920s, this wasn't just a fashion statement. Okay, it was practical. That's why they have it. Okay, it kept the hair out of your eyes in fights and in long working days. So, yeah, if you want to pull this off today, I would ask for a high fade or undercut, okay, with some length left on top. As always, use a matte stylish product to keep it long, natural, but controlled at the same time. Now the face, you will never see Tommy with beard, okay? He's always clean shaven, no beards, no scruff, and his face is always sharp. But as always, if you have a beard and you like it, it's not mandatory that you are very clean shaven, okay? And finally, the fragrance, which is very important, okay? Thomas Shelby isn't just wearing something light and floral, okay? He's wearing something, of course, deep, woody, and slightly smoky that complements his kind of personality and lifestyle. So think something like Penhalion Sartorial, Tom Ford Oud, of course. Or also you could go for some Dior Fahrenheit, but this kind of powerful fragrances that will add the perfect final touch. Okay, so now let's talk about, of course, one of the most important things that define Thomas Shelby, which is the boss attitude. Okay, I can talk about every single piece of clothing accessory that Thomas Shelby wears, but if you don't have this boss attitude, you will never pull it off. Okay, so first, just keep in mind that he moves slowly, deliberately, no wasted movements, no nervous energy, never, okay? Every step is calculated, every action is intentional, so, keep that in mind. Second, he speaks softly, but with absolute authority, always, okay? He doesn't yell, never. He doesn't need to. When he talks, just people shuts and listens. And third, he knows he's dangerous, okay? So keep in mind that his style is a perfect balance of elegance and intimidation. Like, he looks refined, but at the same time, he's not someone you want to mess with. Okay, so if you truly want to pull off this look, you have to carry yourself like a man who is always in control. Okay, that's essential. And finally, let's talk about some mistakes to avoid. You'll never see Thomas Shelby in athleisure, the athleisure style. Okay, I don't even know if he does any sport. I don't think so, but you'll never see him dressed like this. He's always sharp. When you're wearing a suit, also, you want to remember that he's not the kind of cocktail attire suit guy, okay? He's more than a corporate businessman, so never undone the top bottoms, always wear a tie, and he's not the typical guy that's wearing a handkerchief, so avoid that if you truly want to pull this look off. And obviously, as I said before, high quality fabrics, okay? Not satin nor silk, anything like that, okay? Kind of cotton shirts, wool coats, that's it. All right, so let's put everything together. I know this kind of style is a bit more complicated than the other ones, but basically, if you truly want to dress like Thomas Shelby, you need a dark heavyweight three-piece suit, a crisp white, white, remember the color, the club color vintage shirt, a long wool overcoat, and some leather boots. I would go for Chelsea boots in my opinion. And finally, the accessories, just keep it with a pocket watch, cap, some leather gloves, essential, and remember the time. Okay, but yeah, that's basically the signature style of Thomas Shelby. And you will probably wear it more in a Halloween costume, but if you truly want to pull off this look like in the street, you will be the guy in charge. Everyone will look at you and you will get all the eyes. So I would really encourage you to wear it sometime. And I would also really like to know if you like this video. If you did, drop a comment of your favorite part of it, and also drop a like and a subscribe for more videos like this. Okay, I'll see you in the next one, gents.